Produced by Victoire. Victoire gives a special thanks to the EWF, Empire Wrestling Federation, and Mr. Jesse Hernandez. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Stylin'. It's been quite a while. We've been very busy, but we are back with you today. I am one of your co-stars, the Master, Emir. I will be joined by my co-star shortly, Mr. Rico Costantino, former WWE and AEW superstar. But before he gets here, I want to introduce our very special guest, a good friend of ours, a true legend in the world of professional wrestling, and I bet within the next couple of years, a WWE Hall of Famer. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Marty Jannetty.
Hey, what's up? What's up, man? Good to see you. Been a while since WrestleCon, WrestleMania week.
Yep. It has been a while, Marty, but what a weekend it was. You had a lot of fun.
It was a week. Did you get there just a weekend, or were you there the whole week?
I did Thursday till Sunday.
Okay.
So we were just
I
there.
think we came in Tuesday and did the whole week. We was it 5-2? One of Alpha, one of them, Junior, they were running a show that whole week too, trying to play off of it.
Okay.
And had booked me to come over there and sign, Wow.
Was it Knox Pro that booked you? Was it Reno, Rikishi's brother?
Yes.
It was Reno. Okay, he's a good guy. Yeah, we had the opportunity of working for him as well. Yeah,
the whole family's great, but he I don't know what happened there though. The setup was nice. It was like right sort of downtownish Vegas.
Yeah,
which was amazing how they found that spot to put load in a show. But they had the setup was good, the lights, the sound system, big old Megatron thing, whatever they're called.
Oh yeah,
like the Titantron. But all that stuff was nice.
Yeah.
And I was in the dressing room with the boys. All the guys were very nice and respectful and professional. All that stuff. Then we walk out to go to the tables, and I saw 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5.
Yeah,
about 5 people out there watching the show.
Yeah,
that's not an exaggeration. I mean,
just 5.
That was the first night.
Okay,
and I thought, well, maybe they're coming late, because certainly you're going to have more fans than wrestlers.
Yeah.
If they're filming this, they need to get the boys come out and sit ringside.
Exactly.
Tight, zoom in tight. But I sat around for like 30 minutes and thought, man, we're just embarrassing ourselves. Let's go. and left from that. And came back the next night thinking, maybe that was because it was a Wednesday. Thursday being closer to the weekend, maybe they got a chance to advertise better.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened, but we went that next night. There wasn't nobody.
It was crazy, man.
It was they had a 3-night thing, but I think I didn't even bother with the third night. And somebody went and said it was nobody. I mean, I felt bad for them,
Yeah.
Well, nice setup, bro. They had it set up very nice. I mean, even if they still filmed it for their TV tape, as TV taping or whatever they might have it on their site. Unless you got zoom cameras from above, it's going to be hard to show all those empty seats.
Right. Yeah. Or if you've got that, what Vince did in '95. Well, when you were there, do you remember we used to blow out all the smoke over the arenas? It was all misty, so you could barely see the audience. Champions. They're not born in the gym. It starts from the inside and it works its way out. Do you feel it more difficult to obtain muscle? Are you tired or perhaps depressed? Then there's a solution. Our brand new partner and sponsor, Care Aesthetics of La Quinta, are here to help you get restored to optimal health. Just use the contact information in this video and schedule your free consultation. Be sure to mention the name of the podcast, whether that be Power and Glory, Stylin', Masterclass, or Hey Roma, when doing so. We wish you all the best in your road to optimized health. And now, back to the show. The arenas, it was all misty, so you could barely see the audience in '95.
Yeah, he did several. Well, they did several things like that. They also at the arenas would like they love to say it sold out.
Yeah.
And what they would do is there's a curtain that's like the backstage curtain,
Yeah.
but it's on rails at the top of the arena. They would pull that in as far as how many people they had and tighten them up in there. So then
Yeah.
when they get the shot, it looks like a full place, because that
Yeah.
curtain
Very.
looks similar to the curtain behind you. It's blocking everything off. It is full from there. However far sometimes they had to bring it way in.
Oh yeah, I was at a show last week. I was at one of the big companies, one of the big five last week, and it always amazes me because yeah, they had a whole section of the back of the arena just cut off just for the stage, and I've often wondered about that because back in the 90s, you guys had the very small entrance, so the whole arena was packed to capacity, 360 all the way around.
Yeah.
But they don't do that anymore. They have those big entrances, so they cut off half the arena in
Yeah,
every company now.
which helps them stay looking full. I'd imagine it might be full anyway. TV tapings usually are,
Yeah.
but yeah, there was when we went to smaller venues where they didn't have to do that. I'm talking way back, back in my
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
The smaller venues they didn't have to worry about it too much, but
Yeah.
they're experts. That's their specialty.
Yeah.
Just making a place just look huge. It might only be 300 people, but they're gonna make it look like it's damn 100,000.
That's that's why they call it show business. Speaking of disappearing acts, Rico.
Yeah, where I was gonna say, where is Rico?
Rico, where are you? We know that, we know he's got some chores, ladies and gentlemen. He does live on a ranch these days, as well as being a stylist to the affluent around the world. Rico, are you there? Rico. Oh, here he is.
I see him.
There he
I see him
comes.
moving.
Yep.
Oh,
Rico.
Could you hear us? Did you go to the bathroom just then?
no, I was taking care of my cowboy shooting horse. I had to put my horse away. I've been out training all morning.
Your horse is behind you on the bed.
Oh, that's my secondary horse. This is Odin.
Yeah.
He's asleep. This is my rescue. Rescued him from an animal shelter about
He had his
8
big
weeks
ass
now.
in there. Really?
Yeah, he's only 2.
Nice.
He's 120 pounds. The vet says he'll be between 170 and 180. And Great Danes,
Wow.
they grow till they're 4. So
okay.
and
How they do that when you rescue a dog? Do they charge for the shots and all this stuff to get them?
oh yeah, they neuter them, give them all the shots, and take care of them. So if you have to board them somewhere or you go to another vet, all the records are current and stuff like that.
It only makes sense to do that.
Yeah,
right that you do
and
that.
this one is only 2, and he jumps up and he puts his front legs on my shoulder, and he is taller than me, and I'm 5'11", and he just looks down on me, and I'm like, wow. And he's got 2 brothers. His name is Odin. He lives with another 2 rescues, Apollo and Hercules.
Yep.
Oh, Herc.
Oh, Hercules. Yeah.
Oh, Hercules.
Hercules is a Mastiff Dane mix. And
another big one. You
Apollo
like the big doggies.
That's it. Hey, when you run with the big dogs, you got to have big dogs.
You got to have the big dogs.
The last thing I need is a Chihuahua.
And speaking
I can't deal with them.
Speaking of running with the big dogs, Rico, what do our fans need to do before we go any further?
Oh, any further? Now stop, look, and listen. All right, you need to lay the smack down on that subscribe button.
That's
right now. Right now,
right.
You need to share this because look who we have here.
Yep.
The infamous Marty Jannetty, the Rockers. I'm telling you, when I was a young man, they were my heroes when I used to watch wrestling in the 90s. Oh my God.
The good old days.
The good old days,
exciting. They always came up with everything new. Him and
Mr.
Michaels. My gosh, I am so honored to have him on the show today. I can't wait to talk to him. And you know what? While you hit the like button and the subscribe, share it with your friends.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, while you're at it, make sure you go over to Party with Marty. Marty Jannetty.
Party with Marty.
Party with
Yeah,
Marty.
I have to do the same thing and remind them subscribe, because I mean they'll go there and have a good time. We'll comment about it later on Facebook, on my Facebook site, and everybody had a great time, but they didn't know to subscribe. So it's like, well, damn, man, come on.
Yeah, you gotta make sure you let them know that, Marty, and also want to let our fans know. Look at what I'm wearing today. I've got the original Style in the Podcast t-shirt right here. I got it on. They are available for order. They are $45, including shipping and handling in the United States. So if you want to get your hands on one of these babies, you've got to contact us using the email address in the description of this video. You can pay us through Super Chat, Super Stickers. We've got Super Gifts. We also have the Cash App, the $ Masters of Wrestling. So if you want to support our channel, we greatly appreciate the support. We greatly appreciate all of you, the outpouring of new subscribers and new viewers on a weekly basis. We thank you. And again, we encourage you to go over to Party with Marty and make sure you likewise hit that subscribe button and tune into Marty's podcast too. Very
delightful. And hit me up on Facebook. I'm on there under the one that's certified, so it's the real one.
Yeah, I watched your last Party with Marty when we talked at WrestleCon.
Oh yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Which one was that with Eddie Mansfield?
It was you and I was kneeling next to you and we were talking and you were asking about my background. And
okay.
Yeah. And when I finished, you went, "Is there anything you haven't done?"
I mean, it's a lot. I've used it more today with the cowboy thing.
Yeah. Well, hey, I have to keep reinventing myself.
Yep. Well, you certainly shouldn't be bored. I mean, it sounds like you sound like an Aquarius. Aquarius never likes to get, which is myself, settled down in one, routine. Routine is a big evil.
It is.
That's why, for me, going to jail that time, I went for a little while. That's the hardest. I mean, an Aquarius locked in one little room, you did get to go out and mingle with everybody, but then you end up back in your cell. But oh my God, is that torture on an Aquarius? Torture on most guys, as I saw, but actually it became a playground really when they let you out the cell and you can go and general population mix around with everybody and play cards and play chess or tell stories or watch TV. You end up cutting up and it's like a playground. I understand why some people aren't afraid of jail. It's just a timeout, basically. Timeout. Go in here.
Did you ever play dominoes?
I played. I used to play with Yokozuna and them. They played in the dressing room all the time. And but that's been the last time or so. That's been over 35 years.
Yeah. Well, do you know it was Yokozuna that convinced me to take the developmental deal in Las Vegas? Really? It was. Wow. I got a 10-day tryout and they told me what it was going to pay, and it's not much for developmental. And I knew Yoko.
But it's still, you're learning and getting paid.
Yep.
Yeah. And Yoko told me these words: people would give their right arm and left leg to get what you're about to get.
Mm-hmm.
And right when Yoko said that, when I was sitting next to him, I said, okay, I'm going to give it my best.
Mm-hmm.
So it was Yokozuna who convinced me to sign the contract.
The Samoan family, Marty and I were talking before you got here, Rico. The Samoan family, the Samoan dynasty, they are such gracious people. I know, Rico, you've got a huge connection with them. Marty had worked with them in Vegas. I recently started working with Reno. We worked on the Samoan Cup, and I'm amazed at the graciousness of that family. They're so gracious. They're so willing to help. They're
like the nicest in the world until you cross them.
Well, yes, but you don't cross them. And
the Samoans don't play.
No.
And I was taught at a young age from my father. He said, God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for one reason, that you listen twice as much as you talk.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what I did around the Samoans. I was privileged to be around Rosie, Jamal, Rikishi, even The Rock would give me a little advice here and there, but I am so proud to have worked with those professionals. And like you said, they will teach you. And that's what they did. They taught me.
And they're pretty good.
Yep.
I mean, the whole bloodline. Look at it. I mean, they're going to own the world of wrestling pretty soon. And what a nice family to do that.
Yeah, and they deserve it. I mean, even when I was gone for years, I went to a WWE event and Roman Reigns met me and was just so kind to me. Like he had known me for years. And we talked a little bit at WrestleCon, and I was in New York City at an expo, and the son of Jamal came up to me and hugged me.
Jamal's which one? One of them. Jamal's
Umaga.
Obviously not the. He died, right?
Yeah. Both have passed.
Yeah.
Rosie and Jamal.
Yeah, that was sad, man. Both of them great guys.
Yeah, very good. I traveled with them, and
it seems. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say it seems they've. I don't know because they're so young when they're dying. Yoko was not very old either when he died. I was over there in England actually when that happened. It was rough because we had 2 tours going on, and half the boys stayed at one hotel, half at another. And we got word that the one was running behind because we tried to follow each other. Running behind me, they couldn't get Yoko to come out of his room. And we're waiting around, and then 20 minutes later, let's at least go to where they're at and wait for them there. And the time we got there, everybody was all sad and whatever because they'd found him.
Yeah.
And I mean, nothing against the UK because or Europe in general. I mean, I love because I love everywhere, everybody, but it was very upsetting to see how I don't even know what you call them, the cartoon sheets, like the sun. I was abducted by, some aliens and they impregnated me, that crap kind of magazine.
Yeah.
The Inquirer.
Yeah,
the tabloids.
Like that.
Tabloids.
Tabloids. That's it. When you'd walk over there, they got racks out in front of stores and malls or whatever, racks of them, and it's like some of them are actual newspapers, like 1 or 2. The rest are all them tabloids. They're so into their tabloids.
Yeah.
Yep.
Here we are. We just lost a good friend. And we're looking, one of them's got a big picture of Yoko and says 600-pound wrestler eats one too many eggs.
Oh, man.
Then another one was talking about a spider scared him to death. And this is on the front of the magazine. And that's your friend there. And they're, to me, joking it out. Talking about 600-pound man, ate too many boiled eggs. It's just like, man, what is wrong with y'all?
Yeah. That's universal though. I mean, you've still got that even with the likes of a TMZ or companies like that. They still they take something and it's very insensitive. You've got to often wonder about people like that, like their psychological makeup. Who are these people that they can do that? You know what I mean? It's very odd.
Well, there's a song. There's a song by Don Henley from the Eagles called Dirty Laundry.
Dirty Laundry.
Yeah. And that explains why these people
are
the way they are.
Shit.
Yeah. And, it's just, that's what it is.
People I mean, they're there for a reason, those magazines, because people are buying them. They got consumers.
Yeah. If we boycott them,
but I mean,
if we boycott them, they're not going to do it.
How do you buy a magazine that on the cover says Elvis came and saw me last night at my house? And you're going to buy that?
Yeah.
Here's $2. Let me read some more.
Yeah. Sheesh. Yeah. I mean, people that like, some science fiction, I guess, because that's basically what they are. It makes you wonder, why don't they just start publishing books? They may as well, because they're publishing fictitious stories. You got a cup there, Marty? You're trying to show us?
It's the Party with Marty cup.
Oh,
okay, good.
By the way, you can go on at my website, martyjannetty.com, and we got merchandise on there, like you guys were saying earlier about the shirts. Yeah. You know what's crazy is sending just like an 8x10 over to UK. Be international postage is unreal.
Yes, it is.
Wow.
Yes, it is.
Even national now. I found out while shipping a t-shirt, I was shocked. I was like, what? It's that much now? So it's gone up. Speaking of which, before we go on, Rico, you've got some 8x10s that fans can get their hands on, right? Have you got any nearby with you? Okay. Sorry about that, Marty. He's just got to give a plug here. Okay, there you go. If you want to get your 8x10 signed by Rico, mailed to you, Rico, what's the cost for that?
30.
$30 mailed out to you. So we can, again, contact us using the email address in the description of the video.
Do I look much different?
Nah. The shirt does.
This is me at 40. This is me at 43 years old.
43.
That's not true, is it?
Yeah.
No, that's me at 43.
Yeah.
How long ago was that? Now we'll go find out exactly.
Yeah, I debuted in 2000, 2001, and I was 40 years old, sir.
Yep. Really? Wow.
Yeah.
And that's right at the time they were wanting to cut back to 30 and under. Or under 30.
And if it wasn't for Stone Cold, JR, Jim Cornette, and the Nightmare Danny Davis, not the referee,
Danny,
the wrestler,
right?
They sent a letter to Stephanie saying at least give him a shot. You know, you're gonna cut him in 90 days. Just let him come up and do dark matches and see if you figure anything out. Yeah. Well, 2 weeks prior to my 90 days, I believe it was Stephanie McMahon that came up with the manager for Billy and Chuck. And the next thing you know, Billy and Chuck, the Billy Gunn, Chuck Palumbo. You know, yeah. And they were the kind of like ambiguous gay duo type thing.
Yeah.
They would do pose downs with the divas, you know, and stuff like that.
You know, back then I used to drink a lot. Now I know why.
Yeah. Marty, because you just missed him when you came back. You were like, what, 2006?
2005, came back for the Rocker reunion. Kurt Angle actually signed a 2-year deal that was pretty. It was going to be pretty lucrative for me, and things went wrong. I ended up in that jail cell I was telling you about for a while.
Yeah. Oh boy,
wasn't even my fault either. It was the girl I was living with, but doesn't matter now. It happened.
Yeah, it doesn't matter now. All I know now, Marty, is I had a comment come through this morning on the channel. Somebody that can't wait.
Hey, when's this air?
This is going to be airing. This is Sunday. So when our fans are watching this will be Sunday. So 2 days from now. We're recording this on Friday.
So this is Sunday right now. Happy Mother's Day, y'all.
Yep, that's right. Happy Mother's Day. Yeah, happy Mother's Day to everybody out there. That's right. Thank you for bringing that up, Marty.
Oh my gosh. I thought I've been hit in the head too many times with chairs. I mean, my gosh, Marty remembered that.
Yeah.
There's something just not quite right with that.
Yeah. But Marty, I gotta say, Marty, man, you're looking fantastic.
Yes.
Look at your backdrop. You've got all the memorabilia there. You're at WrestleCon. You're traveling around the country again now. So things are moving in a positive direction. When can the fans
say again?
When can the fans next see you? What's your
I think I got to find out about June 8th. Somewhere in West Virginia, but West Virginia is too big to walk around and look for it.
Right.
but I'll be there June 8th. Seems like it's Charleston, but I'm not sure. I'll figure that out. But I know for sure June 28th will be in is it the Lakeshore Pinucks? What are they called? Chinooks, that's it. Chinooks. For wrestling. And it's North Milwaukee, basically. It's where one of the universities is. And Milwaukee's always fun for me. I have to once I go there, I have to remember, okay, you've cut back on the party, and remember, call me a little ass.
Yeah. Just for, I went to military school.
Damn.
And it was
add that on the list.
Add that. And it was in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin.
Oh, really? We actually wrestled there when I was AWA days, way back. When that was like the first time we got national recognition was AWA on ESPN. We went there quite a bit. We went everywhere in Wisconsin, all the little towns, Appleton, was it Waukegan? I mean, all those little places nobody heard of. Like,
right,
we wrestled there. But that's
wow.
wild.
May I ask you, is that the Intercontinental title behind you, sir?
Yes, right here.
Can you show it?
Yeah.
There it is.
Oh my gosh.
That right there was one time I was champion.
That's it.
Yeah.
I say one time, but by the way, too, to talk about a cheap plug, we do sell replicas on my site there, the MartyJannetty.com. Get your own, it'll be autographed. Yeah. That's the thing. Like when you autograph these belts, though, people sometimes they want it on the outside and sometimes on the inside.
Yeah.
Where I guess so the belt's not marred or whatever. I don't know.
Well, you gotta choose your Sharpie well.
Oh yeah.
On the outside, you gotta use black. On the inside, you gotta use gold.
Which way do y'all think is best? If you were getting your belt signed and then you put it upside down, that means I'm going to lose. But which way would y'all want it? Like on the outside or on the inside?
I would like it on the inside because I would always display it and never wear it. And I was fortunate.
Unless you had an actual IC champion.
No, I can't wear an IC championship belt because I never won it. I wanted to, but I've got the WWF tag team champion with Rikishi, and I've got the SmackDown tag title with Charlie Haas.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, Charlie, I hadn't heard that name in a while.
And then and Marty, you were tag team champions with Sean Waltman, right? The one,
Waltman, 1, 2, 3 kid, X-Pac.
Yeah.
Actually, I was with Sean for like 3 days.
You were with Charlie?
3 days?
With Shawn Michaels, yeah.
Oh, with Shawn.
Yeah, because we had won it on the Saturday. We beat the Hart Foundation in a 2 out of 3 fall match. And it was on that show back then called Saturday Night Main Event.
Main Event, yeah.
Yeah.
I used to watch that.
Yeah, and we had won it there, and that was like whatever it was, Saturday night, I guess. So Sunday, we went and did a double shot. We did Houston and Corpus Christi. And then I think the next day, Dallas, or it might have been Dallas, did a double shot. Whatever it was, we defended in 3 different arenas, full, sold out. That's when even house shows were selling out every night. And I think I come home on a Tuesday, and Vince McMahon calls, Marty, heard you guys had a exciting, rambunctious weekend. And I'm like, because there was some events that happened. Yeah, because there was some events that happened on the plane that got pretty bad. Wow. So I figured it's what
hence the word rambunctious.
Yeah. and so I'm thinking, I'm nervous, but he was like, what? During the 2 out of 3 falls, the second fall, the rope broke. The top rope broke. And so we had to work the rest of the match with just 2 ropes, the bottom 2 ropes.
Yeah.
So we couldn't shoot nobody into the rope. We had to do everything in the middle, which we all adapted well and did very well. And with Saturday Night Main Event, on Main Event, the first week was live. That was straight up live. You couldn't do that. But the second, you did 2 tapings. One was live, one was taped for the following week. So we only had to do every other week of Saturday Night Main Event. Well, this one was recorded. It was taped. So they were able to, what from Vince, well, he was, NBC did not want to air. They didn't think that made for good TV because of the ropes. So we're just going to take the belts back. And I'm thinking, And so I said, but I said, Vince, we just defended it in 3 cities. The smallest crowd was 12,000. Corpus Christi might have been 12,000, maybe 15 and 16,000. All those people just saw us defending it. What are they supposed to be told now? We're not worried about the smaller. We're worried about the overall picture. So it's like, okay, well, what can I do? Come up there and whip your ass, Vince?
Well, not saying you couldn't back then.
Yeah.
You were very athletic.
They say Vince is a badass.
Yeah.
Well,
I believe
Shane,
half of what I hear. I believe half of what I hear, or no, none of what I hear, half of what I see.
Okay, you sound like Billy Jack now. Billy
Jack Haynes.
He said that
Billy
the
Jack
other night
Haynes.
on Dark Side of the Ring, which I just did my last podcast about that because Billy, Jack, and I were buddies, and we got kind of, I don't know if you can get close over the phone because we were doing phone calls all the time. And man, when I hear the phone ring at 2 or 3 in the morning, I'd smile because I knew here he is. He's fucked up.
Here he is.
Excuse my language. Sorry.
Sorry.
But yeah, and sure enough, what are you doing? There you go over here and party with me. Like, man, you know where I'm at. You know where you're at.
Yeah.
But
I used to do that to Al Snow.
Good, because I did too.
Yeah.
So we doubled up on him.
Yeah.
Oh, Al would be like, Rico, do you know what time? I said, I sure do.
But you know, you can always blame them. So you're the one that answered.
Yeah, there you go. It's true. Was he very straight? Because that's right. Because you were tag teams with him, the New Rockers. It was Leif Cassidy and Marty Jannetty. Was he?
I love him to death. We're still close friends. Yeah.
Okay. Was he very straight edge? He appears that way. Was he straight edge? That guy?
I wouldn't say to the point of boredom.
Okay.
But very. I mean, when we were together, he was married. I think 4 kids, and he would go out with me. If it was a regular club, be hesitant. But if it was like the lounge at the hotel, he'd be glad to go down there and sit and cut up with the fans and whatever. And he was evidently a good looking dude. So I'm not nothing against that, but I'm not into guys. But
good to hear.
They be careful, we'll get in trouble now.
I know I played you don't know what character, but in true life, I'm not into guys either.
I mean,
likewise.
Just, one of my buddies once said, look, I'm not into sucking. So I wouldn't be good at it. So why bother?
Yeah.
But speaking, I want to touch on, because I know I've got a fan who's going to be watching this. They emailed me and they said they love you, Marty. You are their favorite wrestler of all time. So
I wanted a hug for me.
Yeah, I will email him back as well when after I send this. After I put it up, rather. When you teamed with Al, was it easy for you to go into that program with him as the New Rockers, or was there hesitancy at first?
Well, what it was for me, and I try to be gentle. I've actually said this out in the open before. So when they first came to me, I said, "Hey, we want to tag you and Al Snow up." But I'd met him. I'd worked with him just like a month prior, and that was in Ohio Valley. I think Jim Cornette was booking it at the time, running it.
Yep.
And it put us together, and we had a hell of a match, like 15, 17 minutes. They were wanting to see it mainly to see if I was still in shape enough to bring me back. Mm-hmm. And then they saw that match, and they're like, wow, this guy that he's with, let's bring him too. Yeah. Talking about Al. But Al was like the king of indies. I'd heard so much about him, and then I met him and worked with him that night, and I'm like, holy shit, I don't know how you're not already up there. Mm-hmm. And it was crazy, and I always tell this to my kids, when I do seminars and run schools, is the perseverance, just hanging in there. Because Al, when we were in the back, and I said that to him after a match, we hugged up and all that, and like, I said, bro, there's no way you shouldn't be up there. They're going to be calling you soon. Mm-hmm. And he goes, well, Marty, I've been doing this for 14 years. And, my family, I got 4 kids, wife, I just can't really support them the way I want to with this job. So he was saying, this is going to be this. I'm at the end, I'm about to retire. So he was that close to hanging it up. And then WWE called and, hey, would you want to do a tag with Marty Jannetty? Yeah. But I mean, 14 years he did the independent scene, trying. And he's a very good worker, very knowledgeable.
Yeah. Very good.
Yeah, I got to work with Al several times during my run, and it was always a pleasure to work with Al. My God, he has so much knowledge, and he is such a nice man. And when I started going up, he was more of a commentator now with coach and stuff like that. And I'll tell you, he was an excellent commentator. He knew when to put me over, when, to make fun of me and stuff like that. But he was always on spot.
Yeah.
Always on spot. And him and coach would just feed off each other, especially with the second character.
That good, which is good chemistry, which is something you can't teach too. Sometimes, we thought like Jesse Ventura and Gorilla Monsoon were great. Bobby Heenan and Gorilla were great together.
Yep. Yeah.
Anybody with a big man come off kind of good, which would Jesse Ventura again.
Yeah.
But we thought
there was a lot of them.
Yeah.
There was a lot of great commentators that came up, and like Bill DeMott and Josh, King and JR.
Yeah.
My gosh. I couldn't ask for anybody better.
The one that surprised us the most, though, because in the dressing room, you waited for Bobby Heenan to get there because no matter how tired you were, if it might have been day 30 on the road. But back then, we were going 30 days straight.
Yeah.
All year round. And so you get worn down and you sit in the dressing room all bleh, until Bobby walked in, and Bobby would start he'd just have you laughing. Him and Macho Man wasn't that way, come in and start telling shit to make you laugh. But he was so intelligent, and he's very humorous, with everything he would say. I personally, and most of the guys I talked with, we thought when they made them both commentators together, the antagonist, what do you call it, protagonist and anti, whatever it's called, we thought, oh God, you got two brilliant, hilarious minds going to battle each other out there on the.
Yeah,
we're like, this is going to blow it. They're not even going to care about the match. They're going to listen to what they're saying.
Right.
It was so choppy. It was the weirdest thing, but that it has to do with that chemistry. It's either there or it's not.
Yeah. Another guy who I think did a good job for a while, I think he filled in for Jesse, was Roddy Piper. When Jesse left in the 90s, Roddy Piper took in, and he had that okay chemistry with Gorilla and Bobby. It was Gorilla, Bobby, and Roddy. They had the three-man commentators.
Which is what I think led to Randy, because, they had another wrestler opposing Bobby. So, yeah. I remember those days, too. Roddy was full of energy, high energy. He'd get it going,
Yeah, for sure. High energy.
Yeah, he was not shy at the least.
No, he didn't care about nothing.
Piper's Pit. His commentating, his wrestling, his promos,
his psychology was unbelievable. Though.
Yeah.
He come over. I mean, several little bitty things. You know that, Rico. Little bitty things can add up to a lot, especially 2, 3, or 4 little things. Makes a whole big difference in a match.
Yeah, yes, it does.
We came back. I mean, the little psychological points he would hit us with. Like, I think one time we come back from the match and Sean asked somebody, how was it? Was it okay? And Roddy had a thing for Sean anyway. That's another story. But he called us over. He goes, guys, never ask anybody, none of the boys, how was the match? You want to come in like it was good. You don't want to leave it up to them to decide.
Right.
And I was thinking, wow, there's something I ain't thought of. I'm not sure why not. And I didn't want to ask him, like, why not? But I mean, it made sense too. If you come in asking how was it, you're not sure of yourself, kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Oh, and like, for example, another thing that I even teach this now with my kids was, Sean and I were upset. I'm sorry, Royal Rumble 91. It was the Rockers against the Orient Express, first match of the night of the pay-per-view. And Sean and I looked at each other like, man, gosh, what the hell? We must just suck. Why are we always the curtain jerker on pay-per-views? And Roddy overheard it. He come, guys, you're looking at it all wrong. They're like, oh, how can we look at it wrong? With first matches, he goes, no, not in big shows like this. They're looking at the guys that can most turn it on, get the people into it at the beginning. So it floats you out throughout the show, but you want a good start. Remember that.
Yeah.
He said it's actually a compliment to go on first in a big show like that.
Yeah. You know who told me that?
Who?
Stephanie told me that because I was a curtain jerker.
Must have told her.
Well, whatever. But
yeah,
you know, I thought like you thought. Why am I the curtain jerker?
Yeah.
But you set the tone for the rest, whole match to lead up to the main event.
Yeah.
And it really hit home in Australia. We had close to 60,000 in Australia.
Were we out Sydney?
Yeah. It was the the global warning, not warming, but global warning tour. And and Rikishi and I were the first match in a kiss my ass match. that was the match. Yeah, and you know, I'm going out there. I'm the first one and I'm a heel. And I am, I rock because I have ADD and a touch of autism. So I rock. That's my trademark. So I'm sitting there.
Is it real to it? Some truth to it though?
Oh yeah. I'm not lying. I have ADD and I have a touch of autism.
I got ADHD. They call it now with the hyper.
Yeah, they call it that now.
Yeah.
But back when in the 70s, they call it ADD when they started discovering it.
Even the late 70s, because going through school, like elementary school. I was considered what you consider a problem child because I couldn't sit there for an hour. Then we weren't even changing classes. All of it was done in one room. History, English, math. And gosh,
I couldn't sit still either. I started with a pencil, and I would get up so much by the time the half the day was done, my pencil was this big because I always got up to sharpen it. And I went to Catholic school in the beginning, and the old Filipino nuns, the ropes they used to wear around their cloth. They used to tie me to my chair so I wouldn't get up.
I think today
because I always got up. No, they can't do it today. But going back to Stephanie, I'm sitting there. I'm going to start the show for the largest crowd I've ever been in front of. And Stephanie goes, she goes, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah, I just rock and I pace and I go over the match, blah, 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 blah. I just do this." She goes, "Okay, that's good. Well, you ready?" I said, "Yes, ma'am, I'm ready. I'm ready to go out there. I'm ready to do this." And she goes, "Okay, good." And then she looks me dead in the eye and she goes, "Well, don't F it up." And then turns around and walks away.
A little bit of pressure for you.
No pressure.
Yeah, a little bit of pressure.
No pressure whatsoever.
Marty, Marty, I got to jump in there. Marty, what was the experience that you felt the most amount of pressure? What was the event? Do you recall one in particular that you were like, wow, overwhelmed?
Yeah, two of them actually. The first one was my first WrestleMania. And sorry, Rico, I cut you off like that.
No,
sorry about that, Rico.
No.
Look, what's the name behind you is getting upset about it too. He's leaving.
Well, he didn't like you interrupting me, so he went away. He'll come back.
No, he's going to go over there and bite him.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to bite him for it. He's going to try and find me, but I'm waiting.
He's going to use a whole body for a little bone pick.
That's it.
But they,
Odin.
Oh my God, I know I didn't.
Odin, come here.
I could have swore.
Sorry.
Odin, come here.
There he comes.
Say hi to Marty.
Odin.
There he is. There he is.
There's my boy.
He's awake now.
My
He's a cool dog. He's a good dog.
Odin.
So Marty, you were saying, Marty, what were those two events?
Damn, Rico, he got you again. He got
you. Hey, Marty, I've been instructed to cut him off. It's okay.
Yeah,
okay.
you gotta cut me off.
Got cue cards for each other, like cut me off.
Yeah.
But they
Amir just has to give me that look, and I know to be cut off. So, Mr. Jannetty, please continue.
Yes. Well, the first WrestleMania, which was 5, and it's the first time I met Donald Trump, which I was going to ask you, Rico. Certainly you're a Trump fan because you've had to have met him a few times because he was always around us. He'd always at the wrestling shows. Did you get to meet him?
No, sir. I did not. No.
Yeah. He, all of us have met him and loved him to death. I had kind of, a little bit different with him because I actually ribbed him. And see, again, back then, he wasn't the president, and nobody even thought about like he might be.
Well,
the president
I'll tell you what, Mr. Jannetty.
Yes, sir.
Even if he was the president, I feel confident that you would have still ribbed him.
I might have ribbed him harder. Well, he set it up though. I the night of that day it was in Jersey City at the Trump Plaza or Towers, one of them, wherever they had WrestleMania 5 at. We went in for photo ops with all the boys that he had named off, about 5 or 6 that he wanted to take pictures with, and Sean and I was one of them. And he shook my hand, after the picture with Sean. Sean had a bad habit back then. He just kind of wasn't the nicest guy, to everybody. Yeah. He just kind of went on off, and Donald, or DT as we like to call him, DT was like a big fan of yours, and something other, and he goes, is your partner okay? I'm like, I don't think so. but so we had met, but all we knew him as Trump Towers, and this is Trump. Okay, so the owner of the casino. So that didn't like really floor us because we met people like that all the time. Yeah. But that night, so nervous, man. I had to go get a few drinks that night because the next day you got the Rockers, who are the smallest tag team in wrestling. Sean and I combined are like 450 pounds. Yeah. And we got to wrestle against one of the guys weighs 450, the Twin Towers, which was Akeem the Dream and Big Boss Man. And
that's right.
First put them together. So we're like, how are we going to make a match out of this biggest against the smallest? I mean, what the hell? We were so nervous. Both of us were so nervous about that. And at that point, I think I'd been in the business 3 years. Sean, right the same. We about started around the same, and had never gotten that nervous. Yeah. It was like, well, but why it is because it's WrestleMania. The world's about to see you now, not just the United States. Mm-hmm. And it's your first one. It's my first one. So you're thinking, oh, my family, my friends at home, they're going to get to see this. They're going to see me, oh, this is great. Yeah. You got to go out there and wrestle Big Boss Man and Akeem. Damn.
Because it was a one-man gang. He couldn't see properly either, right?
It was, a little blurry out, I guess. I think one eye sort of crossed like Sean's do now a little bit. Yeah. So, and another thing about that the day of the show, and I'll circle back to the Trump rib, but you're sitting at the curtain, first time, WrestleMania, which it wasn't as huge then. It was still huge, biggest thing in wrestling, but not like today where you got 2-3 days of it.
Wow.
Yeah. And but so I'm sitting at the curtain thinking, man, I can't wait for my people to see me. And a little bit nervous because we've got to get in the ring still. You got these big guys, you're going to have to make it look good. Yeah. And we start going out to Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect, God rest his soul, love him, miss him, had said something about going to the ring, something, be careful. But nobody didn't hear it and thought nothing. Nobody thought anything of it, actually. So Sean and I's music play, here we come, goes out, the crowd stands up and they're cheering. And I'm behind Sean, running, jogging right behind him. Halfway, and it was a long entrance. It was like 30, at least 100, right at 100 feet.
Wow.
Which is a long way, for indoor.
Yeah.
And then we're halfway there. And for no reason, I'm sitting there smiling, thinking everybody's seeing me, all my people are seeing me. There's one step, just one step down.
Yeah.
This is the weirdest damn thing, because why is there one step midway down the runway? I mean, and the production people didn't tell us. I mean, Kurt brought it up, and that was it, and nobody really thought about it. Later, so about 2 or 3 of the guys that told me they stumbled too. Because when you're looking up like this and high-fiving everybody,
right,
you're thinking you're walking on a level surface. So I took that step and lost it. Okay, so here's my moment in the sun. I started going forward, and I had to grab Sean by the back of the tights, holding to keep from falling on my face in front of millions of people.
Yeah.
And Sean thinks I'm ribbing him. He's smacking, stop. He's smacking my hand away. And I'm like, no, hold on. And then I got back and went to the ring and talk about that. People talk about life's most embarrassing moment for them. That was mine.
Yeah.
I mean, here it is, the world is seeing me. And you can't even run to the ring.
At least you didn't pants him.
Yeah.
That's what he thought I was doing too. He was like, stop playing. This is not the time to play. I'm not playing, man. I'm about to bust my ass.
That was a close call. I guarantee anybody who's watching this, I guarantee you they're going to go back and watch the entrance.
Yeah, and you can see it because when they have the side shot, you can see the 2 heads just above the audience. You can see this little trotting down there, and all of a sudden you see one dips for a little bit and comes back in. That's where that step is.
Well, you made it.
Wow.
Yeah,
you made it.
But the night before, now bouncing back, I'm in the casino and doing some gambling with my girl of that time, and I'm drinking because I'm nervous as shit about, because you want every match to look good, especially the biggest one you've had to date in your career.
Yeah.
And I just didn't know how we were going to do it. I didn't know. I've seen how they work. You study how they work, so you have an idea of what you can do and can't do with them. I mean, you certainly aren't going to ask them to drop kick you,
Yeah.
But they. And Sean was nervous too. We both were nervous about it. He was drinking up in his room. He told me later. He says, "Yeah, I sat around drinking. We've gotten so drunk that then you're nursing a hangover. And you don't give a damn. You're not worried about. Oh man, leave me alone. Give me some aspirin. It'll be fine."
Yeah.
But so I'm in the casino, doing some gambling, just enough to, because you get a free drink while you're playing anything. Trying to save dollars for my cheap butt. But I see Donald coming through. This is like 11 at night.
Mm-hmm.
And I see him walking through, and he's, I'm like, oh, that's the guy. That's the owner. I was telling the girl, that's the owner. And he's like just looking at all the different tables, the gaming and all that, and checking on his stuff, that was first thing. Here's the owner, and it's 11 at night, and he's still coming down, checking on, making sure the craps table was being done right, the blackjack table, the roulette. And he sees me, and he smiles, and he's coming toward me, and I thought, is he smiling at me? It's because I had thought he was just talking earlier when he said he was a big fan.
Yeah.
But he came right up to me, and we shook hands. He goes, how you doing, Marty? I said, win some, lose some. He goes, yeah, and they introduced him to my girl, and he smiles. Well, say good luck. He goes, and he told the guy at the craps table where I was just walking from, give him a 500 marker, and I didn't know what that meant. Not then. I mean, I had actually been to Vegas. ESPN. We used to video out there or record out there every third week. So I'd been around it, but I just never had anybody say, 500 marker or any kind of marker. So I wasn't sure what it was, but somebody says, give him a 500 marker. You're thinking like, does that mean he's giving me money to play with? Mm-hmm. That you can only play, just use it like play money.
Yeah.
And I asked the guy in charge of rolling the dice, I said, what's that? He goes, well, basically he just gave you $500. Yep. And I said, I mean, can I roll one time, then cash out? I'll bet 10 and then cash out. Or the winner. But no, I actually went ahead and lost it. But
Well, I was born in Las Vegas. So what you said.
Oh, you were born there?
I was born in Las Vegas.
Oh, wow.
So when he said $500 marker, I knew exactly what he meant.
Yeah.
He's giving you $500 on the house.
Yeah.
And I thought that's pretty special, because I told him win some, lose some, and he's like, no, here. So he probably saw the look in my face like, no, you're losing. Here. But
or he looked at the chips on the table.
Yeah, it's always broke.
Yeah.
But so that was the first interaction with him. 2 years later now, I have not seen him in between. Mm-hmm. It's WrestleMania 7 out in LA. Mm-hmm. Sean and I had the one Samoan, they're both Samoan, the Haku and Barbarian.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, just talk about two big, strong guys. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Haku shot me. One time he chopped me in the chest, but he's not trying to. He's just that big and strong and thick and boned.
Yeah.
He chopped me so hard in the front, I think I had a handprint on my back from it. But I had great guys, love them to death, and we had a decent match. But so backing it up to where we're walking around in the back, Pat Tanaka, a good friend of mine, had asked me to look after his girl he had flown out there. Who long, beautiful blonde hair, pretty girl, great body and all that. And I'm like, you sure you want me to look after her? He goes, hey, do it. If y'all get together, you get together. I got something else going on.
Wow.
Carte
blanche.
So I, I'm walking. Her and I actually we started dating because she lived in Tampa. I was in Orlando, so we drive back and forth to see each other. But started right there. But so I'm walking on the outer ring around the building, the arena, and coming towards me. And I guess I must have had my arm around her or like, whatever. As I see Trump smiling, and I smile. And as he gets there, hey, how you? He goes, you always got a pretty girl under your arm. The first thing that impressed me about that was, because her name was Colleen, but I don't want to say that. She and I'm not going to say Ray Lynn's name either, but they looked like they could be all close to twins, but very much sisters. The long blonde hair, great looks, great body, but they just looked alike. And impressed me. I thought first impression was like he recognized the difference 2 years later.
Right.
Because they only met the first one, that brief little encounter. Yeah. And then 2 years later, you see somebody looks almost identical and know it's not the same one.
Yeah.
But that was impressive. And then I thought at the same time, what a sneaky way of flirting with the girl you're with. Right?
Yeah.
You always got to be beautiful girl.
Okay. in my mind, he said, wow, I got this taste, and Mr. Jannetty has the same taste I have.
Yeah. And then a lot of people don't know, but Trump he's a cut up.
Yeah.
So, but I didn't know that until then. I went to his dressing room. He was there because Marla Maples, he was married to her at the time.
Right.
And she was like special guest commentator doing the greatest thing, man. She was doing the interview with the boys after the match, before the match, or however they needed her. The Nasty Boys, it was their first time in. They won the championship. She was being so snobby, though. He's such a nice guy. Not the character, not the guy you see on TV, because that's a front. So the countries like China and Korea and Russia, they see this tough guy here that ain't going to take crap from anybody, and they think twice about screwing us over. Behind that mask is a gentle, loving guy. He's such a good guy.
You talking about Brian Knobs?
No,
we talking about
Donald. Trump.
Oh, you're still talking about Trump. Okay. Still talking about
Trump.
Amir,
catch up.
Probably that too.
Catch up, Amir.
I'm following the story, but we're talking about the.
I have bad habit. That's that ADHD.
I can identify, but I followed it. See,
Yeah, you
Mr.
kept up
Jannetty
with
and
it.
I are
Yeah.
on the same page.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. To you.
But so
Yeah,
Marlon,
Amir, go get yourself some ADHD.
Yeah, I know. I need to inherit
it's
it from
called
somewhere.
Adderall. If they give you too much, let me know. I'll help you with it.
Anyway, sorry about that.
No, that's a great story about DT.
Oh, but wait, you got to hear the rib though. So
okay,
I mean, Marlon was acting.
I've been waiting for the rib.
Okay, Marlon was acting up. I mean, we were all like, he's such a nicest guy, and here's this girl acting just like snobby in hell. That's why the Nasty Boys, what I was saying now, that was they won the tag title that night.
Right.
And she'd already been being snooty and on the interviews, like she was in the dressing room interviewing the guys after the match. She was just being real prissy, and you got sweat on me. Oh my God. We were like, so the Nasty Boys, they do some crazy stuff, but sometimes it's funny and deserved. They gave them champagne bottles after winning the thing. They shook them up, took them and held them over. This is live. I mean, during WrestleMania, the champagne pouring down her face and stringy hair, and she just looked so damn mad.
That's right.
The boys are all, yeah.
That's the good rib. That's the good rib. Put somebody in their place. Right. You got to understand our world. You got to understand our world.
And I wanted to ask DT, I was going to say, how you deal with that? Because she was really being snooty and he wasn't. And but so he was sitting like by the dressing room, I guess waiting on her or whatever he was doing. And I walked up, I said, bruh. He goes, hey, Marty. I said, man, you got me in trouble. He goes, what do you mean? I goes, that was my wife. When you said that was, and he goes, oh my God. He goes, oh, and I couldn't hold it. I busted out laughing. And he did like this. He goes, that was a good one. I'm going to remember that. I'm like, well, don't remember it the bad way. He goes, no, he goes, there's something to be learned there. I mean, he goes, I didn't even think about that because that could have been. So, I mean, even in mistakes, he's like, okay, he learns it. Yeah. But man, I got nothing but
why do you think he was why do you think he was such a successful businessman? Yeah. He learned from his mistakes.
Yeah. And he made a handful, and I mean, he's probably made more than any of us. Where at least they were more expensive.
Yeah.
But he's looked where it led him, and I say before he's done, as much as they're coming after him, attacking him, trying to get him impeached, trying to put him in jail, trying to create BS, block his way with all these lawsuits and everything. I mean, he already went through that to get elected. He went through all that crap.
There's an incredible amount of resilience in that man.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah. Shot. We got shot once and we're going to get shot at a second time. I mean, he went through all that and he's still standing.
Yeah.
But I think once he gets to the end of this, he's going to be considered, barring some kind of epidemic again where, COVID turns into something it shouldn't have been.
He's got a strong VP. He's got a very strong VP.
A strong team. The whole team is very strong.
The whole team. See, and like you said, he learned from his mistakes. From his first term to this term.
Yeah.
He learned.
Oh, what a difference, right? He learned on the job and did pretty decent then.
And he's not a professional politician.
No.
That's the remarkable part. That's the remarkable part.
He's gone from he came in this time already cards that I'm doing this, I'm doing that, doing this, I'm doing that.
Yep.
Whereas the first time he goes, I wonder what can I do with that? Or what can I, he's learning on the fly, but wow, he come in this time and I hate, pointing fingers or whatever, because I got so many Democratic friends that, I'm not putting anybody down. I don't understand sometimes, some of the things that they are okay with, like letting all the people cross the border and all that crap. But
I think we've just forgotten as a society, and we're starting to remember it's okay for everybody to have their own opinions. Just because if this person has an opinion doesn't mean I can't still be friends with them. That's just their idea about one thing. It's almost like saying, okay, I can't be friends with you because my favorite color is blue and yours is green. That's ridiculous. It's just like, you've got to. We used to get along fine back in the 80s and 90s and 2000s. Everyone had differences, but we still got along with each other. I don't know where that
Or I could tell you, and I hate to do it because I'm gonna lose boyfriends now, but I mean, when Obama stepped in, everything changed. You would think this is like the greatest moment for America because we have a black president that bonds us up better, with the black and white issue. But he kind of took it the other way. I mean, that's when they were showing as much as possible, and he was the one that gave the green light on it. Anytime you see a cop, any video, any city, if you got a video of a cop shooting a black man in the back, let's play it.
Yeah,
it was just racial divide.
Me being former law enforcement, I saw no color, and I just saw a crime. I don't care what color you were. If you were committing crime and you were going to harm some innocent person, I went after you as the best I could, and I had to obey the law with, it's called escalation of force. We have levels as an officer, and we can only go to these levels or else we're going to be in trouble. So like I said, I don't care what race, creed, religion you were. If you were in harm and I had a chance to protect you, I did it. I saw no colored lines. I saw none of that. I saw innocent people being attacked by bad people, and I did my job. And going back to old DT, Donald Trump, he's doing what wrestlers used to do. He's calling it in the ring. That's his first term to his second term. He's calling it in the ring.
I consider what he did the first time, for somebody like you said is not in politics, not a politician. I thought he did great. COVID came along.
Everything came up.
He fought everything tooth and nail, and he did, like you said, no experience, but he handled it like a professional. And that's
this time around. What are they going to do to him? He went through hours. I mean, like days of hours in court. Fighting this BS lawsuit and fighting that BS lawsuit and fighting this one coming and ready to fight that one. And God, he spent all that time he could have been campaigning.
His first term, if they wouldn't have done that, I think it would have been a lot better. But he had to divide himself, and that's the old Roman strategy: divide and conquer. So they divided him, and he wasn't able to do everything that he wanted to do as the president the first time. And they threw everything and the kitchen sink at him, and he beat it all. So now he's focused. What else can anybody, I'm not saying a certain affiliation, but I'm saying what else can anybody throw at him that's going to deter him from making this country respectable again?
I mean, he's so good in interviews now that whereas the first time he would just bark at him, get all upset and say. Now he's so calm and saying, "You're trash. You're not. You're the worst station. You've got the worst ratings." So I'd expected nothing better from you. He just so calmly and goes on about it and answers whatever they ask, and corrects him.
He's learned how to communicate to that audience. He's learned how to play the game. So, it's
because now he understands it. Which is good, and
it was real good.
And if
he's a dangerous ass game too.
It is
for sure,
especially for what he's doing. He's changing stuff. We're not part of the regular political machine anymore. He's going. This has to stop. This long-term stuff, or you get this.
with the tariffs,
I'm done. Quit raping America. Now, you want this tariff? You want this tariff?
And I hate to say it, but Canada, our neighbor, it's been one of the worst for.
Well, they've been raping us for years.
When I was growing up, under 10 years old, I guess there was a song on the radio that had to do about, America's finally going to stand up and get tired of all this you're doing to her. I sure hope Canada is not one of those places. So that means they've been doing it since the mid 60s, taking advantage of. You know what gets me
Now,
more?
as a disclaimer,
Yeah.
my mother is Canadian. She was born in Vancouver, BC.
Okay.
So it's not that I hate Canada or none of that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm half Canadian. So I just want them, you pay your fair share, we pay our fair share.
Right.
Quit raping
That's what it's
us.
supposed to be with everybody, actually.
I agree.
Supposed to be
And
fair all the way around.
that's why I don't run for office.
That's the only reason we'll get you in there, bro.
And he could,
No,
he could. He could.
I don't want to run for office because they would get rid of me.
Where you living? I know you're on a ranch now with a bunch of horses.
Now I'm in Arizona.
Which part?
I'm toward Prescott.
Was that near Phoenix?
An hour and 40 minutes from Phoenix.
Oh, that's a pretty good way. That's a lot of sand.
Yeah, but it's 2 highways and you're there.
Oh, okay. I lived in Scottsdale
and you're there
for a little bit. It wasn't that long, 3 months, but it was during the hot months, where it's 112 degrees and you go stand out in it and just like, this ain't no 112. Yeah. But if you stay out in it, like laying out trying to get some tan, 30 minutes, you'll know it is.
Oh, you'll know it. You're going to be red raw.
Well, see, I don't like the cold, Mr. Jannetty. When I was in Wisconsin, I suffered because I was born in Las Vegas. So I was born in the heat.
Yeah. I lived there too. I was probably your neighbor, but I was in Henderson.
I lived in Henderson. I started out Vegas, Nelson, Tropicana, and then when I got older and I came back, I moved out to Henderson because it was away from everybody.
Yeah, it's outside the rush. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was wrestling at the time, and I had a family at the time, and I wanted them to be protected. Divorced.
Okay, never mind. That's too personal. Sorry.
No, it's not. Everybody knows, but I wanted to protect my family. Yeah. So I moved out to the farthest south I could move in the city of Henderson, which is a street called Wagon Wheel. And if you went around the bend, there was the Railroad Pass Casino, and the next city was Boulder City. That's how far south I moved to get away from the rush in a gated community so my family could be protected.
Oh, you were safe. Yeah.
Yeah.
People don't know it. Well, at least today. I mean, I was living out here. It was like 4 years ago. And Vegas has gotten dangerous as hell. I mean, it's
yes, I know.
I was living across the street was a big barren, but a lot of places in Vegas like that. A big lot of sand, where supposedly there's holes already waiting for the body, already dug. But
yep, that was when those people owned it.
Yeah.
You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It was a safer town. I know my dad was an entertainer. He opened all the acts for the Stardust, and then he moved to the Desert Inn. I've kissed more right-hand ring fingers and known more guys with the middle name than I could even tell you about. But they were the kindest, most gentlest people when it came to socializing.
Yeah.
And when the movies say it's not personal, it's business.
Yeah, business, yeah.
It's business. That's what it is. And when people get involved in that business, they know the consequences for going against the business.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of the game. Yeah.
That's the game. And Las Vegas was so much better.
You being a former enforcement officer, even when you had to do what you had to do, like, well, I'm sure, hopefully you never had to do that, take care of somebody.
I don't like talking about it.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say is like what you were just saying about them saying, well, it's not, personal, it's business. But still, you live with yourself that night. You still, okay, that just happened.
Yeah.
It's that part where it be business or pleasure, that's laying inside your head.
Yeah. It's only something that God can deal with. But gentlemen, I'm looking at the time. We've gone way above the hour. So I want to,
don't talk too much.
No, it's fine, Marty, because like I said, you're going to come back and,
Amir, I got to ask Mr. Jannetty one question, and I've been holding on to it.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Jannetty,
Yes, sir.
how did you get started in this business?
In wrestling?
Yes, how did you break in? What was the bare?
Well, I wrestled in high school and college, so I already had wrestling was in me. But back then, unlike now, when you amateur style wrestled, collegiate wrestling.
Yes, I did it myself, but
okay, so you remember, well, you're close to my age, almost, sort of, like 10, 15 years behind.
I'm 95.
I'm 65. You're only 30 years more than me, and not one gray hair. But they, back then, as a collegiate wrestler, still loved watching it. For me, it was Tommy Rich, Wildfire Rich, and Buzz Sawyer, and some of the Ric Flair was actually around, but it was like we were entertained by it, which it turns out that's the whole point. But at the same time, like, because I had Eddie Mansfield come up to me, a good friend of mine. He's also Columbus, Georgia. He came up to me at the gym and said, "Hey man, let me train you for pro wrestling. You're a pretty good athlete. See, I'll take care of you, show you the road, and everything." And it was very nice, and I knew who he was. He was big time in Texas and California back when it was territories,
right?
And yeah, so I mean, to me, it was a compliment that he asked. But I had that mentality of a collegiate wrestler, like I do the real thing,
Right.
So it was kind of, I love it to death. I'll watch it all day, and thank you for asking. But nah. So then after college, I went to Troy. It's now Troy University, West Troy State, to play football. That never shaped out. So I had to get a job, and I worked for North American Van Lines driving a tractor trailer truck. And sometimes you would drive 7 hours to get to the place to unload 30,000 pounds of furniture. And then they would always try to get you to grab a load to pick up coming back. So you weren't deadheading, as they call it, when you got nothing coming back.
Right.
But so Jerry Oates, he's a home, here. He was on Georgia Championship Wrestling quite often. He territories wise, he was a champion out in the Central States. I knew he wrestled. I didn't know he had a school. He mentioned it one time to me, because I was pretty good in collegiate wrestling. He's like, "Oh, you are, think about pro wrestling." All right, nah. But after about 2 months of driving that truck, 7 hours, and then it's like you're wrestling with furniture because you got to hold a certain way, twist, turn, and all this. It's like, you know what? Let me go talk to Jerry about wrestling. and from there, I mean, it wasn't a pleasure cruise. I mean, he didn't have a ring. He had like tumbling mats, tumbling mats that were made of horsehair. So when you hit the same spot so many times and it's on a concrete floor, if you're taking a hip toss, you're learning, you're just doing all you're learning how to land, learn how to take slams and hip tosses. And you hit right in that spot where all the horsehair move. It's bam, right on the concrete. It's like, oh, good. Having no idea what it's supposed to feel like, not having no idea how to hit the rope. We had no ropes. When we would do a spot and shoot you into the wall, and you get to the wall and push off of it to come back to the middle.
That's like the caveman who invented the wheel.
Yeah.
Here you were pushing off the wall to simulate ropes,
and had no idea that would matter. None of us, I don't think, that were getting trained. We thought like, it's going to be different because we didn't know. It's going to be different when you're thrown into ropes and they shoot you off. Yeah. We all know that, right? You come off the ropes almost faster than you go into them.
Yeah. Did you have actual ropes or cable back then?
As far as his place?
No, yeah.
Wrestling.
When you started, when you first hit the ropes, were they actual ropes or cable with PVC
was like
around?
A water hose pipe.
A water hose, okay.
With a metal, what do you call it? The cord,
the cable.
Cable, yeah, in it. I didn't get to get like the good ropes till AWA days, which was
right.
I was like a year and a half in at that point, a year in.
See, a lot of people don't understand the difference between cable with the hose or the PVC around it with the duct tape around it to actual ropes.
Yeah,
there's definitely a difference.
Oh God,
when you hit them,
it's a different bruise. Like that was the fun thing.
Yeah.
When I don't say fun, I don't mean like that, but I used to enjoy. No, that's the wrong way to put it. It used to make me giggle a little bit when I'd have a new kid come in and talk. Oh man, I don't want to worry about all the headlock stuff. I want to do like Rey Mysterio. I want to get on the top rope and do stuff.
All right.
and I'd be like, okay, come here, brother. I'm just going to throw you in the ropes, come off and do whatever you would. I'm just going to go off your first reaction.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay. And then he's looking and I'm trying to push him in and he's stopping like, what do I do? Just hit the rope and come back. That's it. I mean, it happened more than one time.
This is what people need to know. That's what our show's about, is teaching people about pro wrestling and how it was in your day.
And I enjoy that, believe it or not, as much as how we love being in the ring and entertaining. There's something about entertaining 20,000 people at once.
Yeah.
That I partied a lot, so sometimes there was drugs involved. I mean, and I often say this: none of those highs were as good as going out and entertaining 20,000 people in one pop.
Yeah. But you know what? Thank God you were over that.
Yeah.
Thank God, and I appreciate your strength. I appreciate your endeavor and your fortitude for realizing that and understanding that you're worth more and you don't need that anymore. And
I think that, and it broke my bank account.
Well,
that too,
money
right?
can always be had and stuff like that.
But your health.
Look at you as a person.
Yeah.
Look at you. You are so full of life, Mr. Jannetty. I mean, my gosh, I see I see the same person I watched on TV when you wrestled. You had that excitement. You had that entertainment value, and
Hell, I'm gonna stay right here. I'm getting praised, man.
But like I said, I'm hard to win over. But you and Sean were, even though you were the smallest team, you always
in the time of Land of Giants.
In the time,
which the Land of Giants, but you made it believable that you guys could do it because you were a true tag team.
Yeah, that was it. They actually thought, when I was a kid watching them, I actually thought you were brothers. I thought you were legit.
A lot of people
brothers.
did,
yeah. I thought you
were. We were so in tune with each other. That's the thing. This, when you're in a tag match, there's I call it oneness. For lack of knowing how to explain it, but you become a unit. You become one. You and your partner, or don't even have to holler a spot. You're like,
you already know what you're going to do.
Yeah, you don't have to say nothing, and boom, you do it. And when it's all over, the first time Sean and I ever tagged, that's exactly what happened. We were both 6 months into the business, and they tagged him and I because somebody didn't show up. And it was just, Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty, just a team thrown together.
Yeah.
And we worked with, I think, Starship, which was Scott Hall and Danny Spivey. Danny went, what did he go as in WWF?
Mercy. Waylon Mercy.
Yeah, Waylon Mercy. Great guy, man. Scott was too, if you get him away from his demons. But we had to work with them, and while Sean would be in the ring, I'd see something developing, like, oh shit, if he would do this, it'd be so perfect, and he'd do it. And then he told me afterwards, he was same thing with him. He'd see me, he'd go, man, he should do this and come tag me. He goes, then you did it. It's like you owned it. You blend into one. It's you become a unit.
Yeah.
In other sports, like in basketball in particular, they talk about it being in the zone. where it doesn't matter what you shoot, it's going in, and it's sort of like that. You're in a zone.
It was
one, and it's something you can't really teach. It'll happen when it happens.
Yeah. And I'm just telling you from me as a fan before because I never thought I'd ever be a professional wrestler, especially at 38 and a half of my years.
That might be real quick before I forget, because I meant to ask you a while ago. When you came in, was Boogeyman there yet?
No, Boogeyman has already been and gone. And
really? He came and went already?
Okay. Yeah, but I did get to meet him. I love talking to him. Like I said, I started in 1998 wrestling, and
did he come through it with that Tough Enough? Is that how he came in?
Yeah, Boogeyman came through Tough Enough.
Oh no, Boogeyman. Okay, I mistaked it with Jimmy.
Jimmy.
The Boogie Woogie.
Okay.
Yeah,
they're two different. Yeah, definitely different.
Yeah, no, the Boogeyman came in right after I got called up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he was just coming in with that gimmick and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because I got called up, and like I said, with Jesse and the Empire Wrestling Federation, I had a total of 12 matches, and I was only there 8 months before the tape went up. And in my 8th or 9th match, I got to wrestle Honky Tonk for the heavyweight title, Wayne. And we had the match all, because Jesse Hernandez said he's not going to let you pin him 1, 2, 3 in the ring. There's going to be a disqualification. Jesse Hernandez. He's
from California.
Yeah,
California. That's where I started.
Love him. Miss him.
And he was great. Yeah. And he saw something in me that I didn't see.
That's usually how it works, isn't it?
Yeah. And I was in Las Vegas. So I was a bail bonds agent, had my license and everything for bounty hunting.
What have you not done?
Not much. He has not done that much.
I have not jumped out of a perfectly good airplane. That's
of all the things you would think that's the first thing you did.
No. Now if a plane's going down, I'll jump out. And I've already been in a situation where a plane was going to go down and I thought I had to jump, but that's another story. But like I said, Jesse saw something and wanted to train me. So my late brother and I would work all day, 8, 9 hours, travel 3.5 hours to San Bernardino, work out for 3 hours, and travel 3.5 hours back. And we would do this once a week, twice a week, as much as we could. And
while you're doing
months.
While you're doing that, Rico, I just want to shout out to Jesse Hernandez because, of course, we've got the School of Hard Knocks in San Bernardino. That is the school that Rico went to. It's still up and running to this day. In fact, we've got our EWF 29th anniversary special coming next Sunday, May 18th. That's in the Banning Community Center in Banning, California. So if any of you are in the area, come out. I will be there. Delirium will be there. Rico,
are you going to be there as Triple H, or are you going to be there as you?
Yeah, he's going to be there. He's going to be there as H squared.
That's it. That's right. You know what? I may be related to Triple H, so you know what?
Okay, now you sound like Billy Jack. Billy Jack on the dark side of the ring the other day. I love him to death. Like I said, I didn't see some of these things that, or what they call it, alleged. But I got to know him pretty good, and I just wasn't seeing the dark side of him. Maybe because two shadows together, you don't notice, But
don't forget, it's a program.
Yeah,
they're trying to sell something.
Yeah, and with the episode I did, they fact checked the hell out of me because my people would tell me. The other people they got to say a few words, or did you know this, or you hung out with him? They would question the hell out of him because they all told me. Beefcake was one of them. Beefcake, Marty, gosh, they kept asking me, "Do you think that's true? Do you think this is true?" And he goes, "I told him I know it's true. I was there." But that's not a problem. I mean, because I do have some outrageous stories that did happen.
Yeah, but it's not how you start the race, Mr. Jannetty.
Yeah,
It's how you finish.
Yeah.
Yeah. And look how you're finishing. You are.
It ain't over yet.
It's not over yet.
No,
It's not over yet.
It's not over.
Not over yet.
You have a lot more to tell, Mr. Jannetty.
I feel like it.
A lot more. Yeah, good.
And
I'm telling you, and I've lived by a motto that I say at the end of the show, but I'm going to say it now. That I've done. That's why I've done so much in my life. I've used the ADHD not as a crutch, but as a catapult.
Yeah.
Catapult.
Yeah.
And my saying is this: what the mind can conceive, the heart can achieve. Yeah. And that's because of the human spirit. Mm-hmm. There's nothing more powerful than the human spirit than God himself.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
You put your mind to it, and look what you're doing. Look how you are just taking off, and you don't need those crutches. You overcame those demons, and look, you're an example for every other wrestler who has possible demons, and you're a shining light that you can come out of it. You're not alone. It's
we all can.
You're gonna be it.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Yeah. We hear it all the time. Somebody saying like, you can't help somebody if they don't want to help themselves, but that's not necessarily true. Because I was wanting, when I was deep in trouble, I knew myself. I'm like, man, I'm too deep in this. I got to get out. Yeah. But I mean, I would say that, and I would even throw a prayer, and then, but as soon as I get a knock on the door, one of my hood brothers, we were out there with something, I'm right back in it, and it's like it's almost okay. My will has been to stop, but this has more power than my will, which is a sad thing. Yeah, it's a sad thing to me that some non-physical thing is something just sitting there on the table can control you.
Yeah.
Powder laying there on the table owns your life, not you who thinks and does. This powder shit owns you. It's like, this don't make sense to me.
Right.
Yeah. But you came out of it. I don't know how, and that should be for next episode.
To get away from it. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm saying you did. And it was such an honor to meet you at WrestleCon. I can't say that enough. And what you've done with your life, you have turned it around. You've done a 180, and you're an inspiration to all of our wrestlers, our buddies, our friends, our family who are going through something like this. They just need a spark. They just need to know that somebody succeeded, and it's not going to take much to get them over that outrageous hump.
Yeah,
that vice.
There's a hump in there.
Yeah, that vice.
And I'm gonna jump in there, Rico, as I bring it to a close. I hate to be the
I know.
But I know we can do it again sometime.
We will do it again, Marty, for sure. Because, like I said, I feel honored to be able to call Marty a friend of mine these days. As obviously, as a youngster watching him now, to be able to call him, much like you, Rico, my brother, it's a blessing. And Marty, it gives me so much joy. We did our first interview. If you want to go back on this channel, you can see the first interview I did with Marty a year ago, about a year ago. It's been almost a year, man. And what a difference a year makes, and
was that bad?
No, you were just starting to come back up. You were just starting to come back up. It was a great interview, but like where you are now to there, leaps and bounds. And I'm just happy that the wrestling world has you as an example. Like Rico said, you've got a wealth of wisdom, a wealth of professionalism. I do believe you will be in the Hall of Fame. I think that's going to happen.
The thing blocking that right now, and a lot of people don't know because they always like, we're going to start a Hall of Fame for Marty Jannetty and all that stuff, and which is nice, and I love it. And the Hall of Fame is something that I would love too, because I'm big into sports, all sports. But when I even when I watch sports on TV and they talk about like a basketball player, oh, this is Hall of Famer Paul Pierce, or I'm like, it's such a big deal to be in the Hall of Fame. I know personally, from being around this business 40 years, that some of the people going in there are, if put it the best way I can say, if they're in there, I should have been in there a long time ago. So I mean, within yourself, like, well, hell, I belong there more than 3/4 of the people in there. But at the same time, to get credited with it, get acknowledged as that, seems, at first I didn't care. It's like, man, Mike Tyson's in it. Donald Trump's in the Hall of Fame. I mean, for wrestling. This is Wrestling Hall of Fame. Not, I love Tyson and of course BT. But but you're in the Hall of Fame for what I do.
But when you get there, Marty, you know that the fans are going to erupt, because when you get there, it's
the ones that are still alive.
You're going to be alive,
legitimate.
Marty,
you're going to
Mr. Jannetty. I'll tell you what, and I'm telling all you subscribers, I'm telling you all the fans of the styling and the Masters of Wrestling, start putting it in. Start telling people that Mr. Jannetty needs to be in the Hall of Fame. He's earned it.
Well,
he has been there and back, and look what he's doing now.
Absolutely.
He's got my vote. And if I can cast 2, I'm casting 2. I got a spouse, she's going to cast. So that's 2 there.
Likewise.
Horseman over there on the bed.
The
little horse.
I don't know if he qualifies, but I'll tell you what, if all of you do not vote for Mr. Jannetty, look out. I have the hand of God here, and I have the Cobra here.
Oh dear.
You better vote for Mr. Jannetty.
You better vote for Mr. Jannetty, and you better also go over and subscribe to Party with Marty. Make sure you support his podcast.
Facebook under Marty Jannetty over
and Facebook. And Facebook with Marty Jannetty.
I love interacting with everybody. That's one of the faults that some of the boys gave out. Sean used to reprimand me all the time, but you cut up too much with the fan, you're killing the stardom, because you're just becoming one of them when you hang around them. And I just never, I couldn't help it. I can't see it that way, because
that's the whole part of it, though. That's the greatest part, is interacting with fans, interacting with the kids. That's the greatest part.
But I do understand what they're saying. Like, you're like, oh my God, look. Whereas if they saw you earlier shaking hands, cutting up with you, and then you come out, it's like, ooh, it's Macho Man. I do understand that. But at the same time, I think, I don't know, short term versus quality versus quantity. When you got the quality to lock with the fans.
Mr. Jannetty?
Yes, sir.
I feel the same way you do. Is because after every show, I don't care if it was a house show, a taping, or anything, I would go out and I would cut up with the fans. I'd take all the pictures. I'd sign everything they wanted signed. And, on the road is rough. And trying to eat good is rough. So I always went to a TGI Fridays and Applebee's, and because I was so recognizable, I'd ask them to cook the chicken this way, make the hamburger this way, and fans would come up, and I say, listen, I don't like eating alone. Would you mind joining me? And they would sit with me, and we'd crack up and tell stories and stuff like that.
I mean, you got a big thing in common already.
And that's what I miss about professional wrestling. I don't miss the hotels. I don't miss the Dudley tables.
You don't miss the travel.
I don't miss the travel. I don't miss the steel chairs, but I do miss the fans. And go ahead.
That's one of my favorite things, though, or was in the time. Now looking back, it's like, what? But was the travel, like when we had to make a road trip, you fly into, say, Chicago, and you got to wrestle over in Peoria, so you drive a couple hours, and then you station back in Chicago, and you got Milwaukee the next day, and then you drive back and stay in Chicago. So you get a main point for 2 or 3 days, which was a blessing, because you didn't have to pack, unpack, those days. But there was that drive, and more so after the match with your buddies, because you would talk and shop and you would learn stuff. That's where we learn the most. Talking about your match and like, yeah, this didn't, I don't know about this. What do you think about that? Or did you see that? And what do you think about it? You can learn so much. We were talking earlier about Al Snow. What it was like with him was when I traveled with Sean, for some reason, in our day, all the days we were together, Sean was, he is 4 or 5 years younger. And then this is back when we were early 20s, both of us. It was somehow I was teaching him. When we got the same amount of experience, 6 months each. He came in with all the hype in the world, but ended up like, I'm trying to make it seem nothing. I don't know about humble is the right word, but not, like, what's on me. But he would be under my wing. I was looking out for him. And he was, back when we were like, say, 23, somebody 20 years old, there's only 3 years difference. Now that's like nothing. Back then, you remember, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
3 years. That's just like if you're in 4th grade and somebody's that's a 6th grader.
Yeah.
Funny how that
How
happened.
do you think I felt? How do you think I felt with 8 months in the business, 12 matches, and I'm 40 and I'm debuting?
Yeah. Well, that's why I brought up Boogeyman, because at that time they were trying to cut back. I think they were 30 and under. And Boogie did the tough enough thing, I guess. And Laurinaitis, John asked him his age, and he had said one age, and Johnny wasn't believing it for some reason. He said, "You got any ID? I need to see your ID," or asked him for an ID. And Boogie, when he finally showed it, he was like 30. I don't want to say his age, but he was up there.
Yeah.
But he was good enough. The character was good enough, or whatever. They kept him and did pretty good with him.
Yeah. And he's still going to this day.
I was part of the last Dory Funk dojo.
Oh yeah.
The last Dory Funk. And they interviewed people.
Was that
Dory.
The one in Florida? No, wait, that's
no. This is when
Briscoe. That's Connecticut. I'm thinking of. Okay.
No, this is Dory Funk.
Yeah.
Terry Funk's brother.
Yeah.
So we're in Connecticut. They're running the 10-day trial,
Okay. Yeah.
And Dory and his wife come up and they asked me how old I was. I said 38 and a half. And I went, and they looked at me and they go, "How long have you been in the business?" I said 8 months. They stood up and walked away from me.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. Wow. It was like, because they were thinking I got favored into the business.
Yeah.
But
I know Amir's going to cut us off.
No, but hold on. But no, I was just going to say one thing, though. I was going to say one thing to your defense and to the defense of many. If you look at the wrestling landscape today, all the top guys across the board are now in their 40s. There is nobody that's delivering, in my opinion, and you can hate me for that if you want. I'll own it.
I don't.
There is nobody that is performing under 40 who's really top notch, in my opinion. They can't convey a good character, they can't convey a good story, and they're not believable. But the guys 40 and above, for sure now.
I think it's all the psychological value that they bring from life experience. It's so much easier to portray a feeling or an emotion or a storyline when you've experienced it. I guess they call it method acting in Hollywood.
Yep. It is. It is. That's exactly what it's called. Method acting.
And I think that's one of the reasons, again, Rico, that you excelled so quickly, so fast, because you had already been there, done it. Of these young guys around you, what they were, experiencing. You'd already experienced that in life. So you were able to just delve into the entertainment aspect. And
did you say delve? Like
delve.
DELVE?
Yes, delve.
I gotta look
That's that British in him.
Yeah. Hey, what part of England or UK are you from?
I was born in Oxford, but then I grew up in Hertfordshire, which is just north of London. So about it's in
the
the suburbs.
slums. He was born up
So
in the
the
slums.
slums. It's actually I lived in a manor house, Rico. Come on.
I thought you was in the Southampton there.
No, not Southampton, not Southampton. But no, Marty, I want to thank you so much. Like I said, I
Yes.
want you to come back, Marty. Of course, you're going to come back with Paul and I on Power and Glory. We're going to talk about the formation of Power and Glory and all that in about a month or so. But we're going to have you back on here. We'll pick another subject to talk about. It's been an absolute pleasure.
What was the subject today?
Well, we didn't really have a subject.
You were the subject.
It kind of went in directions whatever.
That's how some of my podcasts are. It's like, what we're going to talk about. We'll figure it out as we go. Sort of like Trump did with his first term. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, that's what Amir and I do. We have stuff planned out, but we call it in the ring.
Yeah.
And you were fantastic.
I appreciate that.
The title will be Marty Jannetty ribbed Donald Trump. That's the title of this video.
And you know what? That's so good because like on Dark Side of the Ring, my episode, I was telling you about fact checking and all that. Yeah. But they didn't fact check other people as tightly, I should say. There's one girl, Karen, who was my St. Louis girl for years until we got older. But she was on there just telling. She told about the fight Sean and I actually a real fight we'd gotten into in a hotel room.
Yeah,
and she was saying it on the show. She was saying it like. And then Sean pushed him out the window, and he came back up in, got in Sean's face, think he can do it again. And next thing I know, Marty's out and got Sean in the hallway on top of him, punching him. She's telling all this like she's recounting her memories of being there. She wasn't there.
Wow.
She's from St. Louis. That happened in Denver. Not that you can't get a plane, but she wasn't there. Yeah. I was trying to piece it together like, okay, push me out the window. She's probably thinking of the barbershop window.
Yeah.
That crossed up. Everybody heard the story about, being out in the hallway, punching away. So, I mean, it's things she heard and she incorporated herself into that story.
Yeah. Sort of because exactly she was seeking the camera.
Yeah.
Like I said, that's why my value is none of what you hear, half of what you see.
And in Billy Jack's case, less than that.
Yeah. Well, actually, I tell you what, I did see quickly before we close here. Tony Atlas. They just did a Dark Side of the Ring with Tony Atlas. Very, very.
That didn't show yet, did it?
Oh, I saw it yesterday. It was on YouTube. Someone from Vice put it on YouTube. It's on YouTube right now.
On YouTube. Okay.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. Very interesting.
I got to see that because I've been waiting to see the Tony one. Him and I are good boys.
Yeah.
But I love him to death. That brother's got some funky stories.
Yeah,
he does. I actually believe all of them. I've seen a lot of them.
Yeah, he's got quite the story, man.
Mr. Atlas and I got to talk, and he told me he enjoyed the characters that I played, even though I wasn't within his time. The Powers of Pain came over at WrestleCon and told me, because the two characters I played is exact opposite who I am in life.
Yeah. Which would have to get to know you to know that.
Yeah. Well, it's on Wikipedia. I can't.
Well, you can't go by everything that says.
Yeah. Well, I will say,
being a hardened criminal.
Well, I checked the website, and I've never added any information, never contradicted, and that site is about 98% accurate.
Yeah, that's the one like mine, Wikipedia. It's like, well, how the hell do they know that? And how the hell do they know that? Because I've never, like you said, told none of that.
They're piecemealing it, and probably AI now is probably doing stuff. And speaking of WrestleCon, Rico, I haven't heard a peep from? MXM.
Who?
MXM.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah,
we got to talk off camera.
We'll talk off camera about that, but we're going to get back to that. We're not going to subject Marty to that. Marty,
no,
an absolute pleasure, my friend.
Yes.
God bless you, sir.
I enjoyed hanging out with y'all and look forward to doing it again.
Absolutely, brother.
To all your people out there, love y'all. Do come see me at the Party with Marty podcast on YouTube, or like I say, hit me up on Facebook because then we can talk directly. and I can mention any concerns you might have. I can mention it on the show, because right now we're not live yet. I say live. I want to go to where you can have phone calls, from fans. Okay. And right now we're not set up for that. I don't know how much that entails, what all's got to be done to set that up. But that eventually, so many people say stay away from that, because it's true. You don't know what you're going to get. Right?
Yeah, you don't know what you're going to get. I tell you, you don't know what you're going to get.
You got to call that one on the fly. You got to call in the ring.
Yeah, and you're going to get some. You sucked, man. You won with. You're going to get those. But in my younger day, I would have lost it. I would have been like DT was his first term. I would have just all in them. But now I can just lean back and laugh with it and cut up with it. But and it does make a difference, I think, when you can interact directly with the fan as opposed to, before the show and after the show.
It does, man, for sure. Speaking of which, we've got our Chris Benoit investigation part 3, which will be going live. We'll have Aaron Stevens back with us. I'm sure Kenny Bolin will be with us for that. And also, while we've got Marty at the bottom of the screen, reminded to our fans, next week we have one of Marty's dear friends, Pat Tanaka from the Orient Express. Next week. So.
The Nip Star, quick. A quick Nip Star story.
Yeah.
Japan, which is Nippon, 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 Japan. And I never knew all this because it was big time in Japan, had a great time there all the time, loved it. But a lot of people would say, for a Japanese person, they'll say, "Oh, he's a Jap," or "She's a Jap." Mm-hmm. I never knew that was an insult to a lot of them. Pat explained that to me, because don't say that when you're over there, over in Japan. And I'm like, why? Aren't that? He goes, no, it stands for Jewish American Prince, and we don't like that. Now, whether you're telling the truth or not, I don't know. But, Japan is short, it's Jap. So Nippon, which stands for Japan, Nip would be the short of it. So that became his nickname, and my nickname was, because I'm Italian, it was WAP.
Well, I'm a WAP Dago because I'm half Canadian and half Sicilian. So
that's what my dad's side was, Sicilian. Yeah.
Oh, where'd your dad come from? Palermo?
No, he actually was born and raised here in America, but his father came over from Sicily. What part I don't know, what area I don't know, but I know they were. WAP is WOP, stands for without papers. So I don't think they did it the same way that's going on at the border where they're rushing across a creek to get into the country. They just, whatever reasons, didn't have the correct paperwork, so they called it without papers. Which turned into WAP. But
all right.
But do you know why a lot of Italians are called Tony?
No, why?
Well, because on the tag it said to New York, so it's Tony.
Okay,
there you go.
So they thought their name was Tony.
There
coming
are a lot
off
of
the boat.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
that's a good one. That's a good one. All right.
No, that's the truth.
No.
I believe it. I
believe it. All right, guys. Okay. This has got to be history making here. We try to end the show about 10 times. But it's okay.
All we can do is let's book another one.
We're going to book another one because this goes really, really well. So
hopefully it's as entertaining to them as it is us, because I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think it will be. We got a lot of information. Marty, God bless you, sir. Thank you so much for coming on. Rico, God bless you, my friend. And close us out, Rico.
And take care of the dog.
Okay. He's right here.
The horsey. I should say, take care of the horse.
Rico,
all right, folks. What your mind can conceive, your heart can achieve. God bless everybody.
God bless
everyone.
Thank
you, Mr. Jannetty.
Thank you, Marty. We'll see you next week.
Yes.